You were never the guy. Not the point guard with the flashy handle, not the 7-footer with scouts in the stands by age 14. You were stuck in the middle, literally. Too tall for guard, too short for center. Not enough touches to be a scorer, not enough size to be a rebounder. You were the in-between kid, but you kept playing because you could play. And that's how it started. You guarded everyone. Point guards when the switch came. Big men when the coach wanted to double. That weird kid who shot from his hip, you had to lock him down too. Nobody knew what to label you, so they called you versatile. At first, it felt like a compliment. You could shoot a little, pass a little, defend a lot. You were always diving for loose balls, fighting through screens, doing what no one else wanted to. Coaches loved it. They called you glue, said you filled in the gaps. You were the guy that let other guys shine. But you noticed something early on. The highlights never included you. Your blocks got cropped. Your hockey assists weren't mentioned. You could hold the opposing team's best player to 2 for 12 and still be the only guy not getting mentioned in the post-game recap. You didn't mind, at first. You were a team player. You liked doing the dirty work. But part of you started wondering, what happens when this becomes my identity? You hit high school and they stuck you at the third, small forward. It sounded good. It meant wing. It meant slashing. It meant do everything. But what it really meant was this: be athletic enough to defend guards, strong enough to bang with bigs, and unselfish enough to never complain about touches. You played 32 minutes a night. You guarded the best player, you rebounded, set screens, switched on to anyone in transition, and if you were lucky, got 9 shots per game. And when you had an off night, people said he didn't impact the game. They didn't see the deflections, the contests, the rotations, the talk. They didn't see you. You didn't have a defined role, just expectations. Be a shooter, be a slasher, be a defender, be a rebounder, be quiet, be humble, be available. When the star messed up, you took the assignment. When the team needed spacing, you parked in the corner and waited. When your power forward got tired, you boxed out the other team's 6'10 monster and hoped your spine survived it. You started to feel it physically. You weren't just playing one position, you were playing every position. You guarded speed one night, strength the next. Your knees started barking, your shoulders burned, your body never adjusted because it was never allowed to settle. Still, you played. Still, you hustled. Because being a small forward isn't about stats, it's about need. And everyone always needed you. Until they didn't. Until they found someone taller, longer, quicker, with upside. But not yet. For now, you were still the starter, still the fixer, still the player coaches loved and fans forgot. And deep down, you already knew you weren't going to make headlines. You were going to make everything else work. You move up, college, G League, overseas. Maybe even a two-way. You keep climbing because you do what coaches love. You adapt. But the higher you go, the less room you have to be anything. You're still a small forward on the roster, but that title means less and less. You're now a 3-and-D wing, a positionless defender, a versatile utility. All fancy ways of saying, we don't know what to do with you, so just do everything. The stars have structure. The PG calls plays, the 5 sets the screens, the stretch 4 gets green lights. You roam. One night, you're guarding a shifty 6'2" scoring guard. The next, you're asked to bang with a 6'10" power forward who eats offensive boards like breakfast. And in transition, you're the trailer, or the slasher, or the spot-up threat, or all three. Depending on the quarter, it's chaos. But you smile through it, because being coachable is how you survive. Still, it stings. You watch the offense flow through the point and the center. The pick and roll never includes you. When you do get the ball, it's always with 6 seconds left on the shot clock and someone yelling, "Drive!" You're not allowed to be cold, not allowed to be streaky, not allowed to ask for touches. You're expected to hit every open shot but never take a bad one. You're expected to defend without fouling, rebound without rest, run the floor like a sprinter, and shoot like a specialist. And if you miss 2 threes in a row, they'll say you need development. You see it on social. He's just a role player. Why is he in the league? Mid. Never mind that you guard the other team's top scorer every night. Never mind that you make the rotations that prevent open threes. Never mind that your presence lets the star wing rest on defense. You're glue. But glue isn't sexy. Glue doesn't trend. You look around and see comparisons you never asked for. He's not like Tatum. He's no Kawhi. He's solid, but he ain't no Jimmy Butler. As if you were ever allowed to play like them. Because those guys get the green light. You get the whistle. You know who you are? You're the guy who makes the team work. like Mikal Bridges when he was in Phoenix, like OG Anunoby, like Lou Dort. Guys who guard the toughest assignments and still get forgotten when the camera pans. And while you're doing that job, your body breaks down quietly. You jump for rebounds against bigs who outweigh you. You close out full speed on corner shooters. You switch onto every mismatch and absorb every screen. You guard isolation plays on an island for 20 seconds straight while everyone else watches. By the end of the night, your box score says 7 points, 4 boards, 2 assists. But your knees say 48 minutes of hell. You go to sleep knowing you did your job, but knowing nobody else noticed. You've arrived. The league, the show, NBA arenas, charter flights. You've got the patch on your jersey and your name on a locker plate. You made it out of summer league, out of 10-day contracts. You survived the cut. But the grind, it's just beginning. You're not a franchise guy. You're not a base. You're somewhere in the middle of the roster, maybe starting, maybe not. You're a small forward, versatile, reliable, and easy to move around like furniture. Coaches love you, but not enough to run plays for you. You're out there guarding Jason Tatum one night, trying to contest fadeaways that weren't meant to be defended. Then it's Brandon Ingram, then it's Jimmy Butler. All different builds, all different styles. And you're expected to contain them. Limit them, body them up, chase them through screens, and somehow still conserve enough energy to knock down a catch and shoot three when your one opportunity comes. You're expected to be like the stars you're guarding, but with none of their freedom, none of their green lights, none of their respect. And you can't slip, not for a second. You get 2 shots a game, hit both or hear about it in film review. Miss a rotation, that's on you. Let your man go backdoor because the help didn't rotate, still on you. You are the default scapegoat for every system failure because your job is to cover everything. You put up 14.63 on great defense and Twitter still calls you mid. You shoot 37% from deep and they say, he's streaky. You're asked to be efficient but not bold, impactful but not flashy. You're told to be aggressive but don't force anything. You live in a constant contradiction. You're told next man up, but you're never the one called first. The star misses a week, the offense doesn't shift to you, they just expect you to step up without changing the system. Still the third option, still getting your touches off broken plays or transition chaos. And then there's the physicality. Your frame isn't built like a center's, but you're still fighting in the paint. You don't have a guard speed, but you're still switching onto Kyrie in crunch time. You play through bruised ribs, tweaked ankles, hamstrings that never fully heal. There's no off switch. You are the default plug-in for every lineup change, every injury, every scouting adjustment. You feel it in your joints, in your back, in your hips. You're still in your 20s, but you ice like you're 38. You're a professional now. But you realize something harsh. The better you are at covering everyone else's mistakes, the less anyone notices you. You're a defensive anchor, a secondary scorer, a transition sprinter, a help defender, and somehow still a footnote on the scouting report. You're good enough to stay, just not good enough to matter. You start feeling it in your legs first. It's subtle, not pain, delay. You're half a step slower on closeouts. The recovery speed's gone. The lift on your jumper isn't the same. You ice more, stretch longer, foam roll religiously. But the calendar doesn't lie. You're not old. But in the NBA, you might as well be. You're 29, maybe 30. A decade of switching onto elite scorers every night has worn your body down. You've played through bone bruises, sprained ankles, jammed fingers. You've been the guy who guards the most explosive player on the court for 82 games, and the playoffs if you're lucky. And what do you have to show for it? You were never the centerpiece. You were never the one they marketed. You were the role guy, the utility, the person who made other stars look good. And now, they draft someone longer, lighter, positionless. A 6'9" kid with a 7'2" wingspan and a high motor. Raw? Sure. But high ceiling. You hear the buzzwords again. They used to use them about you. Now you're depth. Now you're veteran leadership. Now you're teaching the guy who's here to take your job. You do it with grace. You're a pro. You give advice, watch film, keep the locker room steady. But inside, you feel it slipping. You used to average 28 minutes a night. Now it's 14, if someone's hurt. You used to chase the best player every night. Now you sub in to buy your starter a breather. And the worst part, you never even got the credit when you were in your prime. There's no all-star nod to soften the fall, no signature shoe deal, no legacy moments on YouTube. You were just solid, reliable, durable. You scroll your phone and see your old highlights, chase down blocks, hustle rebounds, weak side contests, plays that don't trend. You read fan tweets arguing about whether you still deserve a roster spot. You hear analysts say, he's had a nice career like it's already over. And in some ways it is. The calls come slower in the offseason. You're not a priority. You're a good locker room guy. You're brought in for culture, for experience, for the intangibles. But when the team misses the playoffs, your name's still on the chopping block. You gave everything, played every position, guarded every star, took every tough matchup. You made the extra pass, took the charge, boxed out the guy with 40 pounds on you. And in the end, you never got the headline. You were never the hero, just the help. You never wanted the spotlight. At least that's what you told yourself. You weren't chasing triple doubles or max deals. You just wanted to play, compete, help your team win. You were taught that versatility was a gift, that being able to do everything made you valuable. But now, you realize it also made you disposable. You weren't elite at one thing. You were pretty damn good at a dozen. And that's the problem in a league built on branding. Being a Swiss Army knife doesn't sell sneakers. It doesn't make highlight reels. It makes rotation smoother and careers shorter. You watch old tape now. Prime you. The closeouts, the corner threes, the off-ball cuts, the switches, the dirty work. You see how much you gave, and how little of it stayed in the public memory. You weren't Paul George. You weren't Kawhi. You weren't even Mikal Bridges or Andrew Wiggins on a hot playoff run. You were just steady, needed, but never celebrated. And now that you're out of the rotation or out of the league entirely, you finally see what being a small forward really meant. You were the gap filler, the system glue, the guy who covered up everyone else's mistakes. They didn't cheer when you did your job right. They only noticed when you got beat. You see the young guys now, wings with bounce, endless arms. Two-way potential. They call them the future. And you smile because you know what's coming. The mismatch assignments, the late clock corner isolations, the 3 screens in a row just to chase a shooter no one else wants to guard, the bruised ribs, the burned lungs, the cold tub appointments that don't fix anything anymore. You want to tell them, enjoy it while it lasts. Because the league doesn't remember guys like us. It uses us for spacing, for matchups, for energy, for stability. You were a system guy in a system that forgets stability the second it stops being shiny. But still, you were a pro. You made teams better. You made stars comfortable. You made offenses function and defenses close. You made the game make sense, even if it didn't make sense for your legacy. You walked into every arena knowing you wouldn't be the first name called. And you left everyone knowing you mattered anyway, even if no one ever said it out loud. You played your role. And in basketball, that's the part they never put on posters. That's why it sucks to be a small forward.